Okay. Look, a small red light went on. I guess that's all I'm going to get. Welcome, everybody. I'm so excited. My name is Nathan Aswell. It is October 30th today. October 30th, 4 p.m. Pacific time. And this is the inaugural episode of Small Steps, Big Life. This is a podcast that I was trying to do on a couple of other platforms. And then I found out about Blab and I thought, this is it. This is what I've been waiting for. And so this is our inaugural podcast. Thank you, Meryl. She's giving us a standing ovation. God bless you. So, ladies and gentlemen, let me start by introducing my two esteemed colleagues. Andrea Menard, are you originally from Saskatoon, Andrea?
No, I'm from Delaware.
Okay, all right. Well, I know Andrea because one of her many residences is Vancouver, Canada, and that's how I know Andrea. She's Métis heritage, correct? Mm-hmm. And I'm sure you'll talk more about that, and is very well known as an actress in our country, Canada, and she's also a fantastic singer-songwriter, and her songwriting partner is the lovely and talented Robert Walsh in window number 3.
Hello.
And Robert is currently based in Edmonton, but originally from Montreal, yes?
Ben oui.
Ben oui, exactly, and that's one thing Robert and I share. So, the name of the show is Small Steps, Big Life. And I want to share, I want to introduce these two friends to all of you and to all of you who will be watching this at a later date. My desire in Small Steps, Big Life is to share this idea that all of life is nothing but small steps that lead to the big life that we want to live. If we try to take anything other than small steps, we get overwhelmed because that's just not how we're wired. So, my desire is to share people that, in my estimation, are living big lives, and they will be musicians, artists, people of all stripes and shades. And certainly my go-to position, the place that I like to start from, are people from my tribe, which are people who are focused on making heart-centered music. And that's where these two lovely folks come in. So I have a couple of questions I want to ask all of us. And here's the first one, and it was fun thinking about this question. The first question is, how did you get started? Now, I want us to answer this question in 3 ways. I want to think of this as 3 layers of an onion, okay? So the first layer is kind of your overall beginning as an artist, whatever that may mean, as an actress, as a singer, songwriter, performer, whatever. The second question is, there was a turning point in each of our lives where something happened where it went from being just music to something more, which we now are calling being a music messenger, right? Kind of being more intentional with the music that we are wanting to create. And the third layer is I want to talk about what happened last Saturday night. Okay? So, Andrea, why don't you kick it off?
Okay, first question.
Start. What was the start of your creative expression?
Well, I guess you could say, you've been saying that I'm an actress and a singer and a writer, and it's true. I did begin, and I would say they almost started all at the same time with this character called the Velvet Devil. Uh-huh. And I felt like I'm a girl from the bush, okay? I'm a Métis girl from the bush. I didn't know anything about music. I didn't know anything about training. Yep.
Sorry, could you explain to people who don't know what Métis is?
Oh, Métis is a Native Canadian nation. We are a mixed blood nation that is under the umbrella of Aboriginal people of Canada, which is First Nations, Métis, and Inuits, and we are Métis. So I'm a Métis mixed blood person, and it's the curly hair, light eyes. Anyway, but I'm a Native woman, and I'm proud of that. Mm-hmm. And but I came about this business a long way around, shall we say. And I'll try not to get too long, but let's just say in the beginning of the creation of the Velvet Devil, I didn't know what I was doing, but I was being haunted by this character. And I knew she was a singer, and I knew I was supposed to write it, and I knew I was supposed to act it. So I was acting to be a singer, but I had to write it, and I didn't know how. And I remember the day, very clearly where I said, do you know what? I don't need to do this. If this doesn't matter to the world, if this doesn't have some significance, then I'm not doing it. I quit. So either you write it, creator or angels or grandmothers, you write it or I quit. So that was a very significant day because words came. And after that, I trusted that they would be from a higher source. So I've been singing and acting a long time, but I gave it away that day. And that was probably 18 years ago. And I was ignorant back then about what I had actually done, but I've grown into that wisdom over the years. And I have 4 albums now, and each of those albums has been given away. And I probably have moved even closer on my path as a music messenger, as a singer and a writer and a speaker. About a few years ago, when music started to become incredibly sensitive to me. And I found that I couldn't stand the lyrics of most songs. I was being wounded because music cuts through, and I was being tortured by this. And I thought, I need to hear music that uplifts me, music that brings me a positive message. So that to me was my next step is, well, fine, I'll write an album like that myself. So that's a quick version of sort of the long journey of how I started to get conscious with my work.
Okay. And so let's go over to Robert, and we'll come back to answering layer number 3 in a little bit. Robert.
Well, my beginnings were a lot younger than that. I was playing professionally at 14 because I grew up where? In Quebec, where you can be playing in bars at 14. Because hell, we were going to them at 13. So it took me a while to find my spiritual path in all of this, but I got to say I was hit between the eyes with the power of music when I was a little kid. I think if you heard me speak last week in Vancouver, I told you a lot about the influence of the Beatles on me, and I think there might be a few others out there who like the Beatles too. So they were a big influence and got me really into music at all. And at 13, I started taking some guitar lessons and stuff. And what got me, really kicked me into the path of being a musician, though, it's kind of hilarious because it says a lot about me, was when my band teacher, I was in a band program, so I played French horn because, the Beatles had French horn on their recordings, right? So that seemed like the legitimate instrument for me to pick up. But then there's also a guitar in the jazz band. And I was actually more interested in bass. Paul played bass. So yeah, anyway, I was more of a bass player. And then our band director said, no one's ever been able to figure out the guitar book. Right? So there's the challenge thrown down. And I took it. And so I got more into being a guitar player than a bass player, but I still really love the bass like you do. So anyway, that's what got me into sort of looking at this as something I want to do. I actually got paid, playing big band gigs from the time I was about 14 till 20-ish or something, and playing in rock bands as well, right? So the idea of being a professional musician hit me probably when I was about 5 or 6. I thought this is what I wanted to do. So I think that I feel sorry for people who get to be young adults and they still don't know what they do and they feel all this pressure and stuff. So I was lucky in that sense. I always knew that I wanted to be a musician.
Cool, right on, man. And then what kind of what word do I want to use? There was I call it what's the word I like to describe? There was kind of a pivot, a moment, a shift where it was more than just music, where you started making the music that I now know you make, that I'm aware that you make. So something happened. There's a shift from music, kind of general, to music more specific to who you are now. How did that happen? Well,
I would argue that there's always been an element of that but I think we've gotten clearer. Possibly because the times have changed, possibly because we've gotten older, possibly because I work with Andrea Menard and she's kicking my butt all the time to be thinking consciously. So all those things come together. But I would say that even if you looked at my original, early stuff, I think there's always been an element of wanting to touch people and trying to be truthful. So that's always been there. But I think it's become really heightened in the last several years, where I've become more and more conscious of others who are really trying to, like Andrea talks about, taking responsibility for what comes out of your mouth kind of thing. And I think that's a place that all three of us have gotten to. But for me, I'm become more and more really conscious of that over the last several years. But I think it's been a gradual process.
Yeah. Cool. Great. And briefly, yes.
And can we ask you those 2 questions before we get to the ones here?
Sure.
Like, you're the host, but come on. Who's Nathan Aswell? How did you start?
Well, the story I love to tell, because I really think I realized in the last few years that this is kind of really where it all began for me. My earliest musical memory is standing in the choir loft with my dad at about 5 years old, Roman Catholic Church. I'm about waist high to him and all these men. And I will never forget 2 layers of the experience, standing in the middle of the sound they were creating and also feeling very much like I was in the center of that community. And it dawned on me about 4 or 5 years ago how the times that I feel the most engaged, the most alive, the most lit up are when I get a chance to experience both of those things, music and community together. So that's why I was so excited about what happened last Saturday night, is because music is it's my expression, it's what I'm doing here, and to do it in a group context with 2 other people who are also heart-centered is like, there's doesn't get any better than that, right? So my version, Robert, similar to yours, grew up in Montreal. What I remember is thinking how much fun it was that if the bands I was in, if the bar that I was playing in got raided, I would be arrested because I was underage and everybody else was over 18. I was the youngest guy in the band, right?
That happened to me.
Did it really?
We did get raided. The Chateau du Lac in Hudson, Quebec. And they didn't take the band. They took all my buddies. So.
Is that the first place you ever played?
No, but we had it was the first place we kind of continually played as a rock band and stuff. You know.
My first gig, Chateau du Lac.
Sérieux?
Yeah, sérieux.
Really?
Yeah, really.
Oh, my Lord. That's okay. This is too funny.
I remember playing in there and thinking, man, that's it. If they raid this place, I'm gone. Isn't that funny?
Well, you're lucky they didn't, because they used to.
So anyway,
yeah,
it was what I called my Saturday night life and my Sunday morning life, and they were kind of running parallel, and then they got more and more intertwined. And then in September, fast forwarding in September 2010, after I started writing my own music, I thought, I want to be much more intentional about this. And I consciously cut the ties of my Saturday night life because I really want to make every note count. So that's kind of where I'm at. I just want to take a moment to acknowledge Kevin. Kevin, thank you so much for all your messages. I do want to include you in the conversation, but we're going to wait till a little later when we open it up for question and answers. So please be patient. Thank you for being with us, and I do want to acknowledge your questions and comments. Okay, so let's talk about Black.
Can I just say something? Lori just said it's hard to hear Robert.
Oh,
okay,
that's interesting.
Is this better now? Any better? Can you guys tell?
It was sounding fine to me.
Sounds tinny and quiet.
Lori, may I suggest that you put some earbuds in, because it sounds fine where I am. So maybe it's just where you're sitting in relation to your computer. I don't know.
But that's my sound. If you've heard my music.
Wherever you are.
Oh, but Andrea and Robert and Nathan sound great.
Okay.
Well, I don't know what it is.
Yeah, I don't know, because she sounds not she, but Robert sounds fine to me, Lori. So I don't know.
Me too. He does sound fine. I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll when everyone sounds awesome from there. Okay, well, we'll keep trying.
And Meryl says it all sounds fine to her. So I don't know, Lori. That's what I would suggest, is just put some earbuds in. Maybe that would help you. Okay, so let's talk about last Saturday night, or what kind of led up to last Saturday night. Let's talk about that. So, Andrea, Music Messengers.
Okay, well, Music Messenger is a term that I have coined when I had no idea that the positive music movement existed. I was up here in Canada going, happy tunes, uplifting message. I was desperate to hear music that uplifted my soul, because I was in a crisis. I was in trauma. Been there, folks, right? Hello? And words of songs have the power to just rip through everything and touch you. And the problem is that I was hearing songs that were aggravating my trauma, that were telling me I was miserable and needy and everything was bad. So I couldn't listen to that. And I went on a mission to find music that uplifted me and made me feel better. And if I didn't know the name of an artist, I did not know how to find them. And like I said, didn't know positive music. That would have been a good one to punch in. Didn't do it. Didn't know of the term. So I realized that if I wanted this music, then there should be a gathering site. And so that's why I called Robert up and said, Robert, we're making an album that makes me feel good. Because I needed it. So that was going to be our next project. It was so hard to find that music that we were going to make an album like that ourselves.
Now, had you made music together before that?
Yeah, we've made 3 other albums.
Right, but but a shift somehow. A little.
This was 100% positive message, uplifting message.
Yeah.
Because my other stuff was soul connected, heart connected to my journey on spirit, but it also had a lot of my pain in it. And that's fine for my journey. And you know what? Everyone needs a little bit of, you know what? I've been there. But where I was going was to a place that was evolving past that, to say, you know what? And I started to realize that I had a responsibility. So sorry for the long-winded answer. But what happened in all of this was that I realized my responsibility is that we as musicians are the creators of the soundtrack of your lives. And I thought, I'm not being responsible with that. We are the soundtrack that you are using to, what's the word I'm looking for? To display, to share your life. You're using our songs to do that. Anyway, I can't find the right word. But I realized that I didn't want everyone to be saying, oh, I'm this pain in relationships, or this is who you are. I went, no, I want to show that you are amazing spark of the Creator, that you are a child of God, that you are born of this earth and are made of sacred. You are sacred. And I thought, that's what I need to be told. And if songs aren't doing that for me, then, and I'm the creator of songs, then who's going to do it for us? I have to. So that's where I coined the term music messenger. Was my best way to describe this next phase. And after that moment, and after Robert and I created Lift, our Music Messenger album, we started finding others like Nathan Aswell, who introduced me to many, many more. So so that's the beginning. I'll let you guys go around, but that's how the Music Messengers was born. Did I explain that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So coming up to the weekend, maybe Robert, you want to?
Yeah.
Well, it was something that you had planned for a long time, finally coming true. I'm getting double speak, right?
Yeah, all of a sudden.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, you're funny now.
Is it better now?
Yes, it is.
You were doing the same thing before. I don't know what that's about. But anyway, I'll go while I can. So it was great because Andrea said, let's pick a date and let's just go ahead and do this. And she had a vision for this a long time ago. And I think it was talking about the perfect 3 getting together. Like, it was just so great having you there as well, Nathan. Like, Andrea and I have worked together for a million years now. We have our thing, but it was so, and like my wife has pointed out, it's not easy slipping in as the third person in this situation. But it was so wonderful having you there. So it was great. So the Music Messenger evening, hopefully, is this. Maybe an annual thing, I don't know, but we do want to bring this message around. And I got so much out of the evening, I don't even know where to start in a lot of ways. But it was just lovely. The night started off with Nathan and talking about what I interpreted as this process of with small steps, big life, and showing us what that really means, and in his own life, and that was a beautiful journey. Then I got a chance to speak about my own journey with being a musician and wrestling with things like unworthiness and the fame game and how that's beaten me up, and then coming to a place of realizing that it's really about my creativity, and we're all creative beings, so we're all artists living this life, And then Andrea, her talk really touched me with talking about the responsibility she has as a songkeeper, and how we can all take that outlook and be responsible for the things that we bring into this world as art. So, and then the musical aspect of sharing our music with one another and with an audience was really important for me, and I thoroughly love that. So for me, that's what the evening kind of in a nutshell was about. But it came from a vision that Andrea had about this from some time ago.
Right. And so
do you mind, Nathan, if I just cut in there?
go ahead.
So that, I guess, the shape of the evening, so the vision, thank you for that, Robert, I got off track. The shape of the evening for me was to show that their music messengers is a term that we are saying that it's musicians, but songwriters and singers who use their voice and lyrics and words to convey a message of hope. And Nathan, you are a speaker and a singer, and Robert, you are a speaker and a singer, and I am a speaker and a singer. So those, to me, like if this was going to be the inaugural event, just like the Music Messenger series was, then I wanted speaking and singing, like a TED Talk and a folk fest, like to create a new format.
Yeah.
And so that's what we did. So we had three talks and 3 little concerts, but they were all wrapped up in a beautiful 90-minute evening. So that's what the Music Messenger experience is. And now that we've done one, we are going to travel this baby.
Mm-hmm.
Woo! Denver, we're coming. Who's in Colorado? Okay, now what about your take on it, Nathan?
Well, what I wanted to say, I wanted to back up a second and share this, that I think it was about a year before you and I actually connected, Andrea, which was about a year ago, people started saying, do you know about Nathan Azrael? And everyone was saying to me, do you know about Andrea Menard? And so there was this kind of all this flurry of activity around people that just knew that we were destined to meet. It was fun. And then when we finally did meet, it was like, ah! We had so much in common. It was just, we were feeling all the excitement and the energy.
Oh.
And just to come back to something that you said, the very first thing that I wanted to share with you is, you have this vision for music messengers in Canada, and I've had the good fortune of connecting, because there was nothing going on in Canada before you. I had the good fortune of connecting with people in the U.S. So I have been a part of 2 communities, the Positive Music Association and Empower Music and Arts, since 2007. And when I met you, I said, well, I have to get you connected to those people. So you and Robert did come to this event that I am overjoyed to be a part of every year, the Positive Music Festival, which will be happening in 2016, February 11th to the 15th in Tampa. And for anybody who wants details, I'll be happy to email them to you. It's a wonderful experience. If you want to be surrounded by people making this music for a whole weekend, it's delicious. So anyway, that's kind of what got us going. And I met you at first, and something happened. Something had come up, and we had decided we were going to perform together. I can't remember what. And me getting, the music and looking at Robert's charts and stuff. And I need to say this, Robert, because it's part of me acknowledging your mastery and my respect for and love and appreciation for your mastery. There's a lot of people writing music, a lot of people writing positive music, and I don't mean to be unkind, but there are a lot of people that are writing that music that, like all of us are at different points in the journey, have things to learn about how to get better as performers, as songwriters, as technicians. And it was just immediately apparent to me upon listening to the songs, the music that you guys had created, that not only were they well written, they were well produced. I mean, they were world class. And it was just so much fun to know that. And, you know that, right? You know that immediately. You know that in about 30 seconds. And I remember saying this to you, Robert, that, my experience is, okay, I've got 10 songs to learn or whatever it is. And okay, I'll hear the first 30 seconds and it'll be a no-brainer after that. It'll kind of just be lather. And then as I'm looking at the charts, like, wait a minute, wait, when he gets back to, this isn't the same. There's a different, wait a second, there's a whole different, hey, this is smart all the way through. So I just love it. I love learning that, and I love learning the songs, and I love performing them with you guys. So coming back full circle to this comment about Saturday night. Saturday night was an opportunity for all 3 of us to make music together, which we haven't done very much of. And as Rhonda, your beloved Robert, said to us, it's just an easy fit. We were meant to be together. We were meant to make music together. So we just kind of slipped into this like we've been playing together for a long time, which is lovely. I love that when, you say that to people and they go, "Oh my God, you're kidding," because it sounds like.
Well, and not to make it too much of a mutual admiration society, but when we got together to do the release of Lift in Vancouver and stuff, and we used Sean Susie as well on drums, and Andrea and I had several bad experiences with, players who can't really read the charts and don't really get it and stuff. So to walk in and have you guys nail it, not only that, but saying, which harmony would you like me to grab? It was very much appreciated, and man, we love playing with you. Yeah. So right back at you.
You, Nathan. Oh, ay.
Yeah.
Well, so Saturday night, I think the only detail we haven't shared, there's a wonderful person in the Vancouver area named Brian Fraser. He not only is the the president of the Vancouver CAPS chapter. CAPS is the Canadian Association of Professional Speakers. Brian is also a Presbyterian minister, and he has a wonderful church in the Burnaby area, and it seats about 100 very comfortably. And within the last year or less than that, they've put in a state-of-the-art sound system, and it's a fantastic place to perform. And that's where our event was on Saturday night. So it was absolutely magical. And Brian sent me a lovely Facebook note in the last few days saying he couldn't be there, of course, because something had happened to him. But he just said something to the effect of, "Love the vibe that you guys left behind." That was really sweet to read.
The place is called the Sanctuary in Brentwood. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
And you don't know this, Nathan. He has invited us back to do the same show in January.
Well, that's excellent. And I wanted to very hastily add, Robert, this is not going to be an annual event. We want to.
It's a traveling show.
Yeah, we want to make this happen as often as possible. We are all, as most, perhaps everybody watching this show knows, TED Talks are really the thing these days. And so the idea of the three of us coming together and doing a 20 to 30 minute version of our talk, and not only doing them together, but then accompanying each other musically on each other's songs, just took it to a whole other level. What's the phrase that we came up with that we all enjoyed? More than a TED Talk, more than a concert?
More than a keynote.
More than a keynote, more than a concert. So that's what we're excited about. We want to move forward with that. And hey, I'm just going to throw it out there. Anybody watching this now, anybody listening to this later, if you think the three of us can serve you or your community somehow, please contact me. Contact me or Andrea or Robert. Let's all make a point of putting our email addresses in the chat.
Okay.
And, because, who knows how that'll happen. And for those who are watching this later, this link will be on my website, and I will put all of our websites and our email addresses on that page for people who want to contact all of us. Cool. So,
now, what can I ask what the people think of? There's a question, or is this too early? Sorry.
No, go ahead.
What does everyone think of the Music Messenger experience? Yeah. More than a keynote, more than a concert.
Right. Yeah. So let me just repeat that. Andrea wants to know, but there were a couple of different suggestions you had for the phrase, but the one that Robert and I agreed on, and I think you agree on too, Robert, is Andrea, is more than a keynote, more than a concert. Your group name again is Music Messenger. Love the title. More than a keynote, more than a concert. Meryl?
So the Music Messenger experience.
Yeah.
Sort of
Music
thing.
Messenger experience is what we want to call the three of us together, Meryl, to be clear.
Yeah. I'm curious to know what people think. Like, I know they had the comment from several people. They really didn't know what to expect.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Oh. And I wonder what the Music Messenger experience, just what that evokes for people. And maybe with that, right? Would you expect an evening like we just described, I wonder?
Right. So while we're waiting for people to answer that in the chat window or the message section, let me just read what your friend Bart sent, Andrea, because I thought what he sent was just beautiful. As for the impact of last night on me, I found my journey reflected in the words of all three of you. This was affirming but also helpful in seeing myself from a slightly different angle. Like Nathan, I have become a master of my art, psychotherapy. This past week, students, a colleague, and a client have called me a master, a magician, and an artist. Despite my weariness, I need to embrace this. Like Robert, I need to embrace my accomplishments in my own terms. I have done much, but Aimee has always considered me a bit of a failure because I haven't made the money I should have. I'm a commodity, not an artist, ? And you, Andrea, pulled it together. My weariness, I am tired of healing trauma and managing mental illness. These to me are like the sad songs were to you. And maybe you want to talk a bit more about that, Andrea, because we haven't talked about that yet. In short, I can embrace being a master, not measure my gifts by the yardstick of income, and I need to continue to move towards a psychotherapy of people building, positive psychology. So I love the way he took what each of us talked about and combined it into a whole that really resonated with him.
And made it his journey.
Yeah.
Which is the point, right? I mean, all of our journeys and all of our messages was to provide an uplifting message for the audience. So, you know, that's what a good keynote and a good concert does. And without us knowing really what we had created yet, we were brand new. Our friend Bart, who is not a musician, who is not, you know, in this world at all, and he took what we had to say and he made it and he applied it to his own life, which was to us a really great gift. So hopefully that's what comes across. So someone answered, music messenger experience.
That's Meryl. A wonderful hook to entice a wonderful evening. I wish I would have been there. I wish that
I wish you would have too. Yeah. I have a note here from my lovely assistant.
Yes.
My wife Rhonda is saying
Rhonda, peek in.
Yeah.
Rhonda. Come on.
She's hiding.
Hi, Rhonda. Come here.
You're being beckoned. Anyway, she's saying that she's getting texts from viewers who are asking for music.
Yeah, I was thinking about that. Unfortunately, Rhonda, the problem is that because we are in 3 different locations, we can't play in time. There'll be a little bit of a time delay. I thought of that too, and I'm very sad that the technology is not at the point yet where we can do that.
Can we do a harmony note?
We can hold a chord, but that's
Bob?
Hang on.
First guitar. Let's see what happens.
So here's to love, let us
sparkle. Can everyone hear us? Go ahead.
Here's
to love,
let us shine. One by one.
Each spark will ignite. I can't hear the guitar.
I know. We're way out of time.
Yeah,
we tried.
Okay, well, we tried.
I'm sorry. That's the unfortunate reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only way that we can get around that is if all 3 of us were in the same place. But
okay,
I will send a link to all of our websites so you can hear all this music in glorious Technicolor. And
well, we tried. Hey, we tried.
We tried.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I'm like, can't hear the guitar.
No.
So it looks like, okay, so Meryl is the only one who really gave feedback on, Lori's saying, just wondering if an explanatory tagline might add to Music Messenger experience, something like a night of uplifting words and music, something like that.
That's really nice. Yeah.
Yeah, that's sort of what I had.
Yeah.
But yeah, a night of uplifting words and music.
Yeah.
I think I had uplifting words and inspiring music. Those were my 2.
Yeah. There you go. Okay. Excellent.
Thank you.
So I'm thinking next, let's take a few minutes and if you were to say, Andrea, in a few sentences, what your talk is, and I specifically, I want to come back to this very powerful thing that Bart referred to, the sad songs. The center of your talk was the story about the songkeeper. Mm-hmm. Beautiful. So,
well, my talk is basically the awakening of the songkeeper, and I was, I told you the story of coining the term of the music messenger and getting on this path, and then during this time, I heard a snippet of a story, and it gave me just a little, like almost an ancient wisdom that came through, and it came through in a story. I only got the snippet, but as I grew into this, the rest of the story came to me through my guidance, I guess you could say. And the story is called The Awakening of the Songkeepers. And it's about how we were all of us, all of creation was given the song of life, including the human beings of Earth. And it was a way for us to remember who we were, to live in a good way, and to live in, to follow the natural laws. And we all have been given this song of life. And somewhere along the way, we came into contact with the song of death. And the song of death would compete in our ears about, and help us forget who we were. And because there was a big problem on the earth, that there was a big meeting called, and the elders called the gifted ones ahead to say, there's some gifted ones who hear the song of life very well, and they sing it very well. And when they sing it, other people remember who they are. And these gifted ones agreed to a sacred task to remember that song, to sing that song, and to teach others that song. And they were called the Song Keepers. And so the Song Keepers, in that ancient way, were given this task. And I think that the music messengers, the bards, all throughout history, whatever we were called at the time, we are remembering that that is our sacred task. And we have a job to do. We are the keepers of a sacred song for the people because we have a particular gift to do so. And we're remembering, we're awakening who we are. And the song of death may still be around, and we've been creating it and singing it because the song keepers forgot to. But we're awakening, and we are remembering who we are, which means we're going to help you remember who you are.
Beautiful. Thank you. Robert.
Well, I guess mine is more about my own journey, and an experience that a lot of musicians have. Am I breaking up again?
No, it's good. Okay,
sorry. So experience a lot of us have. When we decide to be musicians, like I do a lot of different things. So I remember just having the mindset when I was young that I was just going to invest in myself and learn as much as I possibly could. Got a degree in music and stuff, and started playing, and have had, it depends on your point of view and depends on the day. How I'm feeling, how I look at it. Either you could say I've had a really excellent career where I've played with a lot of different exciting people like you guys and others, and done a lot of things, or you could say, well, it's not really, I haven't accomplished much because I don't have a lot of gold records on the wall. So it depends. It was wrestling with this whole idea of other people's perspectives on your art, on your creation, on your work, and how hard that is, especially as artists, because unlike a lot of other professions, we're expected to become famous. And so that whole piece has been very hard on me, as it has been on so many musicians I know, and to the point where a lot of us just quit and get out of it because it takes a lot of courage to put your art out there, and then to have people take pot shots at it, for instance, is something we don't often think of when we're creating, and it's probably a good thing we don't. But it's something that's driven a lot of artists to leave the business. Some have gone to real extremes, lifestyle choices that have ended up in, bad things, including suicides and stuff like that. So it's a piece of this business that's a reality, and something I wanted to talk about. If I was going to talk about being a music messenger, I think I had to talk about my own struggle to get there, and this is one of them. And so I think you can relate to this in any walk of life. It's hard sometimes being criticized. If you had that bad performance appraisal or something, what does that do to you? And so but I realized I need to move past this and stop worrying about what other people think and just be focused on my art. And so the way for me I've been able to get there, or remember to get there, I think that's half the battle, is remembering that this is really what it's about, and then finding that way back. So for me, the key is really being in service, and looking at our gifts as being gifts that I have to cherish and I have to nurture. And I think we all have our gifts, and it's about what we do with those things. And for me, ultimately, what we do with them is really the most important thing, and how we live our lives ultimately is the most important thing. So for me, it's doing music. That's how I express, but we're all different. And so taking that creativity and using it, and not being daunted by what others may think, because it's simply none of your business.
Heck yeah. Look at all those happy faces.
Yeah. Yeah, so it's simply none of our business. If I'm on purpose, it's not that it should just be irrelevant. It's got nothing to do with anything, you know. And not that I don't have an ego and don't enjoy when people love what I do, you know. That's wonderful, but it shouldn't be what's driving me, you know. And sometimes we can't believe our own thoughts either. So there's the external stuff we have to deal with, but there's the internal as well. That's maybe even more insidious. I give the example of I was playing with the symphony, something I've done for years here as being the guitar player with the Edmonton Symphony. And so sometimes you get some challenging parts and it can be quite nerve-wracking and stuff. But there's this guy who comes to town from New York and it's always a fun show. But I had some parts that I was really not getting and I was kind of crashing and burning and I was getting so mad at myself. I just wanted to put that guitar away. And so I was shocked when he came and sat down next to me and said, "Now, you can't let me leave this time without getting your business card." I was like, "What? Really?" And he went on to really sing my praises, which was wonderful. And of course, I played really well that night because he believed in me, right? But then I walked away and I thought to myself, shouldn't have mattered, right? So I'm not quite there yet, but I'm working on it. And I think, you know, just to be mindful of that whole piece of, you know, everyone's entitled to their opinion, but it's just got nothing to do with you.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
Now, Nathan, what would you say your talk was about?
Well, I'll mention that I will do exactly that. But first, I just want to acknowledge Timothy and Ladina and Kim for joining us. Thank you so much. I don't know if you came in because of Kevin posting a message on Twitter, but I'm very glad to have you. We're in the middle of talking with, I am in the middle of having a wonderful conversation with my two friends, Andrea Menard and Robert Walsh. Andrea, who is now based in Vancouver. Is that safe to say that you're based in Vancouver? Andrea, because I'm not sure if because you still have a house in Saskatoon. I don't know if, you know.
Vancouver.
And Robert, I have yet to mention this, originally from Montreal, but now based in Edmonton, although the coast is beckoning.
It is. So, it really is. Yeah.
So hopefully that will happen soon. So what I would say, you know, it's interesting. I think that what you and I have to say, Robert, is similar. What I talk about in my program, Small Steps, Big Life, is the four steps that I've come to see as being my process as it pertains to the instrument that I play, the unusual instrument that I play, the stick, which is basically a combination bass and guitar that you play by tapping the strings with both hands. It's basically like a stringed equivalent of a piano is what I say. And for those of you who haven't seen it or heard it, I have videos on my website. In any case, there are steps to the process with that instrument that I think could be applied to any of us in any journey that we are experiencing. The first is the importance of, I call them the 4 small steps. The first being that we need to start from wherever we are. In Zen Buddhism, they call this beginner's mind. How we really have to approach whatever it is that we want to do with an open mind and be clear of expectations. The second is that we really need to ask for help. It's much harder to experience what we want and to get to where we want without asking for the help of others. In fact, we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot if we don't. There's so much more we can learn if we put ourselves in context with other people. Which again brings me back to that wonderful memory of being in the choir loft with my dad. The third is to persist. You know, there are definitely going to be times when we want to give up, where, you know, like you said, Robert, where we get the parts that we can't play well, or, you know, we get to the place and our voice is, you know, we have a cold or whatever may be our issue as performers, or whatever we are in whatever walk of life we're in, where we just think we can't shine, we can't be our best in this moment. And yet, we get through it, and then somehow there'll be some sort of an acknowledgement further down the line, someone coming up to you and saying, you know, please don't let me leave this time without giving me your business card, or whatever it may be. And last, and the one that kind of was the last one that I added to my talk, which really kind of was the missing puzzle piece, was to be grateful for the whole process. Being a perfectionist, I have always been focused on the end point, which is to be able to do things flawlessly. And we're all in process. You know, sometimes we get it, sometimes we don't. And what's important is for us to embrace the entire journey And if we have experiences where we feel like we fall flat on our face or that we're going backwards or sideways, ultimately we come to see that those things actually move us forward, probably in ways that just moving forward unimpeded wouldn't have. So those are that's what my talk is about, those 4 steps in a nutshell.
Can I ask you a question? So number 2 was about asking for
help.
As a man, and a guy, I know that you've done a lot of work with men's groups, and you're very conscious of the things that men are up against, kind of thing. And I think one of them is that we grow up in this man box, and we have certain. It's an unofficial set of rules, but one of them definitely is that we figure stuff out for ourselves, and to ask for help is weak, right?
Yeah.
So, what do you say to men who are looking for ways to ask for help?
Well, I want to say 2 things about that. Thanks for bringing that up, Robert. The first thing I say is, as you guys saw on Saturday, I joke about it. I joke about how there's this, this sacred oath that men seem to take at birth, right? Which is thanks, got it, and how silly that is. The whole thing about not asking for directions, whatever. We prevent ourselves from getting the help that's all around us if we just allow ourselves to ask. So what I tell men, I should say, is that help is readily available, and that we are just as capable of expressing all of our feelings and emotions, and including being vulnerable, whatever, as women are. And it's just bad programming, intense programming at times, that makes us believe otherwise. It's a lie.
It's interesting, though. I don't know if you've ever seen that TED Talk with Brené Brown talking about shame. And
absolutely, I have.
And it's very powerful to me how that man came out from the audience and said, well, first of all, you didn't address men. And she, I guess later on, learned that there's a whole area of, of research she needed to do was about how men are around the issue of shame. But this one man said to her how, basically, I can't remember how he expressed it, but essentially the women in his world would not support seeing him fall off his horse, show his vulnerability, in other words, right?
Sorry, did I interrupt?
That's it, yeah.
There's a wonderful process I was involved in for 10 years called reevaluation counseling, which continues to reverberate in my life. It literally has changed how I see life. And one of the things that they talk about is how we get hurt as members, not only as individuals by past experiences, but also how we get hurt as members of different groups, as men, as women, color, as different people in the social structure. And all that stuff is just lies. That's misinformation that we learned as part of those groups. And there's also a way that people who are part of other groups see us that way. So the reality is that there are women who have been led to believe that men are supposed to be X, Y, Z, and who feed into that belief as well, or that misbelief as well. Mm-hmm. So the work is not only for us as men to figure that out, but it's also the work for us, as allies, to describe women this way, for the allies of men to know this stuff. In the same way that it's important for women to know how they get hurt, it's important for us as allies to women, for us to know how they get hurt. So we can just start to unravel this stuff, because they fit together so beautifully, right? The women, the one little, is a quick story I'll share. We would have men's and women's retreats in the same location, and we were told. I remember this so clearly. At the beginning of the weekend, the people who would lead the men's work and the women's work would say, "Okay, now there's going to be a pull during the breaks, because the breaks would happen at the same time. There was a big open yard where we all could kind of hang out. There'll be a pull during the breaks for you to go and be with the other team, right? Try to ignore that." So, because what happens is, men want attention, want to be loved, want to be comforted, want to be nurtured, and women want to nurture. So it was just crazy. It was like bees and honey, It was a natural thing. So the only way that it was solved in the end was that the breaks were at different times, so that it just wouldn't happen, because there was no stopping it. People couldn't rise above the temptation to just keep doing that. So
Robert?
There's work to be done,
Did you lose Robert?
I don't know. We may have, but he'll come back in a moment.
Hopefully he'll come back.
Thank you, Hypno Guru, for your.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Now, can I make a little tag to that, since that was a talk about men?
Of course you
I
can.
would just like to acknowledge that, you know, the same thing for women is finding our voice.
Yes.
Right? It's finding our voice and finding the strength within us. And I would just like to say that here I am, the founder, the spearhead of the Music Messengers, and I have these two beautiful men who are my anchors and my friends and supportive, 100% supporting me. So we are a team, and I just want to say that this team is us transforming those roles, flipping it on its head.
Yep.
But these are incredibly sensitive and generous men, and I guess for me, I have learned to be strong,
yeah,
and to follow those. I mean, by the feminine aspect of me is following those calls of the spirit, the nurture, not even the nurture, the receptive, being receptive enough to listen to spirit, to follow the next wise choice I'm supposed to take.
Yeah.
I think he's back. There you are.
There he is. Oh my Lord! I'm talking about technically challenged today. Sorry, Andrea.
Okay. And so, you know, to balance those two things, is that receptive enough to hear the next calling, but active enough in the masculine to follow through on it. And these men have the same balance. So I think we're moving to a balanced world. What do you guys think?
Absolutely. I was going to say exactly that. It's about all of us realizing that we are all fully capable of being in our masculine energy and our feminine energy.
Yep.
That's where we all need to be. We need to be balanced. All men and women need to be balanced.
Maybe the Music Messenger experience is, we're not actually talking about those things, folks, but the fact is that we're being those things, and hopefully that one in itself will trigger a shift in people who get to experience the evening. Yeah. You know, the Music Messenger experience. We're not in charge of what you guys take away, but that could be one of them.
Yeah, I completely agree. In fact, I had this amazing experience with one of the women who was there that night. Mm-hmm. As usual, I was the last person to leave. I was the last person to pack up my toys and go. And it was about 5 minutes before everyone was heading out the door. And I knew that there was a moment with this woman that needed to happen. And we got on the phone the next night, and we were on the phone for about 2 hours. And I ended up doing an EFT tapping session with her. And it was a very deep conversation. You know, there was just, there was a door that opened in her because of what had happened the night before. So I'm just saying that because we have no idea.
We have no idea
how what we do is going to impact people.
Absolutely.
And, right? I mean, I'm sure the people listening too is like, none of our business. We can do our best. But.
Yeah. Love your comment, Hypno Guru. Yes, it is. The hardest part for all of us is to get quiet and centered enough to get in touch with ourselves. Amen, brother.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
And I dare say that I think that that's the power of the three of us, is that I do think we, this is the way I would say it. I don't know if it's mine or if I got it from somewhere else. I'm sorry. I don't know who else to attribute it to at this point, but the space between the notes is just as important as the notes.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I like that.
So I missed a part of that conversation, but I just wanted to say I think that we are entering into a new time. Yeah. That this is a new era we're in, and I think that things are shifting, and it's kind of, we're seeing evidence, I think, of that. But as men, I think it's, I don't know, not incumbent upon us, but I would like to sing more in my music about this idea of balance for men. And not in an on-the-nose kind of way, but like you were saying, just you take this sense away from the experience, you know? I think I see a lot of men struggling these days, and if we can at all be people for them to look to as people who have, you know, come through some stuff and maybe have something to say about it and something to help, some way of helping, I think that's really needed right now. And of course that involves women too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And you can't not. But
yeah, that's what I had. That's what you've missed.
You're saying that. Okay.
Yeah, I had said what women's equivalent journey is learning and about becoming strong.
Yeah.
In what we know and saying, being vocal about what we know. So same thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Beautiful.
And two equal difficult jobs.
Yeah. Interesting.
So my last question, gang, is what's next? So I know that the three of us have talked about, we have a strong desire to move forward and share this experience that we had last Saturday again. There's nothing on the books in ink at this point, but the desire is there. The seed has strongly been planted.
Oh.
And so that is our intention. We are looking for opportunities to serve the three of us together. So if anybody listening or people watching later have any ideas about how the three of us can serve together, we welcome any and all inquiries. Mm-hmm. And we are not geographically bound. As it is, we're coming to you from, well, Andrea and I are in the same city, technically.
Sometimes.
Although she's in town, I'm kind of much further out of town, and Robert's in a completely different province. But we are willing to travel to do this. And I do know that you guys will next be together in Vancouver, November 14th, I'm sorry, performing at Unity of Vancouver. 15th.
Mm-hmm. Sunday.
Okay, sorry, I'm getting my months mixed up. Okay, and is there something happening in Vancouver around that church?
We are the 14th. I'm part of a Métis celebration in Vancouver, Louis Riel Day celebration. On the 15th, we are doing the Unity of Vancouver morning service.
Yep.
And then we're doing a 2:00 afternoon Unity concert.
Oh, great.
And that evening, we're doing a concert at the Brentwood Presbyterian Church, or the Sanctuary in Brentwood, for a fundraiser for Hummingbird Ministries, which is a Native ministry.
Okay.
So we've got quite a few things that we...
I'm sorry that I will not be a part of that. I will be about 1,800 miles away in San Diego. So...
And then off to Bali or something, right?
What's that?
And then off to Bali?
Yeah, that'll be November 29th to December 10th with Jana. So the other thing I would like to make mention of, for those people who don't know, I made reference to this earlier, the Positive Music Festival will be happening in Tampa from February 11th to the 15th. Have you guys decided that you're going?
I'm going, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Robert, are you?
I'm
getting odd.
Yep.
All right. Okay, good. So we will be there, and I would highly encourage any of you and all of you to come and be there. It's just a fantastic experience. Your heart will be blown wide open, and the three of us will be performing there together, and there will be a lot of other people. I lovingly call them my tribe. I very much feel that way. So it'll be a magical experience. If you want more details, again, just email me. The website, for those of you who just want to go check it out, is empowerma.com, EMPOWERMA.com. Parting thoughts, my dear friends.
I truly, sorry, thank you, Robert. This is a great space that you've created, Nathan. I want to thank you for starting your Small Steps, Big Life show on Blab. I think this is great. Guys, we didn't open it up to you as much. I hope we did. We're learning, but Nathan is going to be here daily or 5 times a week. He's going to try 3 to 5 times a week. I suggest that you tune in. He's going to have amazing people. Thank you for teaching us how to use it.
Yeah, no kidding.
Well, we just had one little hiccup at the beginning, but yeah.
And good. Bob.
Some of us, our computers stopped, but hey, you know. I just want to echo that as well, Nathan. Thank you so much for taking this initiative, and it's a very, very cool thing you got going here. Are you planning to do this regularly? Is there some kind of like? Yeah,
I do want to do this, and I'm going to be messing around with times. I want to make it as consistent as possible. So the time, I'm thinking that this is a good time, 4 p.m., because it will enable people on the East Coast to get us. And hopefully it won't be too late for people. Well, it wasn't too late for one gentleman who was with us at the beginning of the conversation from Scotland. I don't know if he's still here. But yeah, my desire is to ultimately do it 5 days a week, and traveling. So that will be challenging.
Yeah.
But my thought is I want to be taking a look at several different areas where I see people living big lives, so musically and several other areas. Depending on how things go, I may actually kind of say Monday will be the music day, et cetera, so that people know, well, we got to check what Nathan's doing on Monday because that's the day that really appeals to me, whatever. Not there yet, but these are just kind of things that I'm thinking about.
Beautiful.
In the meantime, I'm happy that I found this platform. I think this is going to serve us well.
Beautiful. Well, thanks for doing the first inaugural and getting us both involved in this. It's wonderful. I just want to say, if people are looking for me, unfortunately, I'm between websites right now. I spoke to a web designer today, and Andrea will be so happy to know. Yeah. So I'm just in the middle of all that. So you can use my email to get a hold of me, and you're going to post that, I guess. Are you?
Facebook, you're pretty active too.
Yeah, Facebook too. So.
I have. Do you guys have a little bit more time? Are you in a hurry to get going?
That's good.
Okay. I realized that I promised at the beginning of the conversation that we would open it up to question and answer, and I would feel better if we did that. I've got something else going on in 20 minutes, but if we could go like another 5 or 10, that would be great.
Totally.
So anybody who wants to come in, please. I'm sorry, I don't know what the process is. Robert and Andrea, you figured it out. I don't know what is involved in people requesting to come into the conversation, but Meryl, I think you're first up. If you would like to come in and just say something, I would welcome you. There she is, right on cue.
Oh, right on. Look at that.
Yeah. Meryl, Meryl, Meryl. Meryl, Meryl, Meryl. Okay. Fingers crossed. So there's something that has to happen, right? Some kind of.
Do you have to accept? Have you accepted yet?
I have accepted. I clicked on it immediately, and there she is.
Yay.
I just wanted to thank you for this very cherished experience for your first time. And Andrea, I just feel your sacredness, and I'm going to follow you if you're on Facebook or get some of your information. I was married to a Native American Indian, and so I have that bond. And Robert, wonderful to meet you as well. And Nathan, what a wonderful threesome! I think that you guys should do a room at the Posies. You just have your own room, and that way you'll drum up a lot of future business.
Well, what will happen, Meryl, is that on the Friday night they do the pajama jam,
yes,
which is everybody performing literally in their pajamas. It's lots of fun, and I am going to make contact with Sue Riley, one of the organizers, within the next few days, and tell her to make sure that the three of us are included on one of those in one of those spots, so that we do get a chance to either play 20 minutes or maybe more. That it would be maybe 40 minutes, 20 minutes of you guys and 20 minutes of me, and so we're together for 40 minutes together. But yeah, so that we are scheduled to be in the same room.
Well, I didn't have a question. I just wanted to embrace the opportunity to share with the three of you, and I thank you for that.
Oh,
thanks.
Thank you.
God bless. Thanks, sweetie. Okay. She's golden. She's absolutely golden.
Who else wants to come in?
Yeah. And somebody else want to come in quickly? Ask a question or say hi or something?
Nick Muck.
Lori,
you coming in? There she is.
Lori's coming in.
3 seconds, hey? So we just have to wait for that little...
I can feel it.
Probably like 10 seconds or so.
It's like in the old Star Trek show. There she is.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so beautiful to feel all of this love here. Love it.
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
While you've been talking, I was inspired to make my Halloween pumpkin.
Very cool.
So,
where are you?
Thank you. Thank you for all the love. Beautiful.
You're welcome. Where are you?
I'm in Alberta, Northern Alberta.
I'm sorry, you said that earlier. My apologies, yeah. So, big night tomorrow night, I guess.
Yeah.
It's kind of cutting out, eh?
Yeah. Big night tomorrow, yes. We're going to try to scare all the children. with love. I really appreciate what you're doing. This is a gorgeous conversation.
Cool.
Thanks, Lord. So it looks like we have a bad internet signal from you, but thank you so much. It was wonderful to have you with us, and beautiful pumpkin. Nice work.
Yeah.
Okay, we got time for a couple of other people quickly to join us.
Magulu, you still there?
Welcome, Whole Health Dana. Welcome, Soul Mia. Oh, Soul Mia.
Soul Mia. Same nickname.
Looks like practically neighbors.
Yeah.
Is that the basket?
Basket.
It's close to Edmonton?
Yeah.
I think we
An
may
hour
have.
away or so, hour and a half.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, this is pretty fun.
It is, isn't it? So
Yes.
now you guys get it, right? Like why I wanted to do it this way is instead of on Periscope, because this way we get a chance to have people doing this.
Oh, yeah.
That's very cool.
And you're noticing the what do they call them now? The props. Props.
Yeah.
I think is the new word for it. What's happening in the lower right hand corner?
Yeah.
That's people just saying that they.
I've been doing it to you guys too. Are you doing it? It's fun.
Oh,
You can do it on your phone.
I've been busy moderating it. Actually, I've just been pressing my own. No.
yeah.
Actually, no, you can't do that. I don't think you can do your own. Okay, we're getting silly. I guess that means we're complete. I love you both. I so appreciate the fact that you made the time to do this, and I know that we are destined to do great things, more great things individually and collectively. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
Thank you, Nathan. Keep it up, and I'll spread the word about your great show.
Right on. And this will be the link will be on my website, but I will send it to the two of you guys so that you have it.
Great. Thank you, everyone, for coming and joining and sticking in there.
Thanks all of you for joining us. If you want more info on anything, my email address is nathanaswell@me.com, nathenaswell@me.com, and I'll connect you to my two hoodlum friends.
I just put you at nathanaswell@me.com.
Yep.
I just put you up.
Groovy, baby. Okay. Love to you all.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.